So today we're talking about digital citizenship and ClickView, and it's for primary teachers. We have another presentation of this in a couple of weeks' time, I think, and it will be for secondary teachers. Our learning intentions for today, we'll explore the digital citizenship resources in ClickView and identify how you can use those with students. And we'll know if we've been successful if you can locate the digital citizenship resources in ClickView, use them effectively, and you can share those resources with students. So, Carly, welcome, and thank you for taking the opportunity or for making yourself available to present the information to us today. Carly's an advisor for ClickView, and I think from memory you work New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland?
New South Wales, ACT and Queensland, across all the Catholic dioceses that have ClickView subscriptions for the specifically primary schools.
Okay, thank you. So, over to you. I'll stop the share and I'll let you do what you need to do.
Cool. Thank you so much, Karen. Okay, let me just get those cameras out of the way there for a second. So as Karen already kind of went over, so just a little bit of an agenda there for today. We're going to go through some of ClickView's digital citizenship resources. I'm going to pull out a few highlights for you guys, give you a little bit of information about some of the resources. We're also going to have a look at how you can obviously locate those resources in ClickView, the different ways that you can find that content. And then how you can actually use those resources in your classroom. So the different ways that you can share that content with students, basically. So first of all, we'll just jump into a couple of content highlights. I'll show you where you can find all of the digital citizenship resources in a second, but I just wanted to highlight a few really good series that we do have for this particular subject area. So just a few on the screen there. We've got our bite-sized coding and computing series, which has a range of different videos. It's got 14 videos in that series. It is linked to the curriculum for stage 1 through to stage 3 technologies. So that's really helpful as well. You can be confident that that one's aligned to the curriculum. Covers things like how computer data is stored, how the internet works, what is the internet, all that kind of really base knowledge as well. That's a really good introduction, I think, to this kind of subject area. We've also got a series called Citizen Code, which is actually from the ABC. So that's another really good one for students, quite fun and engaging, obviously. Looks at things like hacking and robots, music in the internet, and a bunch of different things there as well. There are 10 videos in that series as well. Next, we've got the Responsible Uses of Technology series with 4 videos. And that's a really good one. It covers things like online privacy, cyberbullying, children and mobile phones, which I think is a big one. I know kids these days probably have a lot of access to mobile phones a lot earlier than they used to, and a lot more than they used to as well. Also covers things like fake news. That series is aligned to the stage 3 PDHP curriculum as well. We've also got our digital literacy fake news series with 6 videos as part of that series. That's probably more, slightly more aimed towards secondary, but it is available in the primary library through the Year 7 folder, and it is linked to the curriculum for stage 4 English. So a few different curriculum areas across these series, but it is a good one probably for Year 6 or senior primary students. It's produced by us at ClickView, and it covers things like fake news and the dangers of fake news, how to identify fake news and all that kind of stuff, why we fall for fake news, all that kind of stuff. And now another one that I wanted to point out is not really a series as such, but a featured channel in ClickView. And I'll show you where to find those featured channels. But a new featured channel that we actually have available in ClickView is the e-Safety Commissioner, which fits in perfectly for this subject area. So the e-Safety Commissioner has basically got their own little spot in ClickView now where they can upload their own resources into ClickView, so you can access their videos in ClickView as well now, which is fantastic, super handy. Obviously, they have loads of content, and it's all really good content as well. So I think you can see there on the screen that has about 43 videos in total, I think, in that channel so far, and they'll keep growing that. So when they want to add new content in there, they can basically do that whenever they need to. Cool. So we're going to jump into how you can actually find these resources now. So I'm going to switch over to my ClickView account there. Hopefully everyone can still see my screen all right there on your end. You should be seeing my ClickView dashboard here. So first of all, before I go into the libraries or our search up the top here, I just wanted to quickly show you where to find that featured channel for the e-Safety Commissioner. because that is actually right up front on our dashboard. So if you scroll down a little bit on the dashboard when you first log into ClickView, you'll have this featured channels section here. So you can jump into these featured channels and you can see we've actually got quite a lot of different featured channels in here. So we've got individual teachers that actually have their own channel in here where they upload their own content that they might be creating. And then we've also got organisations. So Catholic Education Diocese of Parramatta, if you're part of Parramatta Diocese, they've actually got a featured channel in there as well. And if we keep scrolling down, we should find the eSafety Commissioner featured channel in here as well. So if we jump into that one, this is what it looks like, and you can just go through and access all of the extra resources in here. They've got a bit of a description there as well, and you can see things are kind of categorized quite nicely in here as well. So all of their resources are in here. So that's a great place to get some of those digital citizenship resources as well from the eSafety Commissioner. So we're just going to jump back to the dashboard quickly. So another way that you can find content in ClickView, and specifically those digital citizenship resources, is jumping into your libraries tab up the top there. Now the ClickView Primary Library is sorted really nicely. It's organised really neatly. So you can see you've got your year group folders here. We've got Foundation to Year 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, Year 7. So if we jump into one of these folders, so we might go Year 5 to 6 as an example there. There's actually a couple of places that you can probably find the digital citizenship resources. So first of all, we can go through technologies, and then you can see we've got some subfolders in here. So digital technologies is probably where most of those videos are going to sit. So once we get into a particular folder here, we can scroll down, and like I said, this is going to be probably the most obvious place to find the digital citizenship resources for Year 5 to 6. It's in that technologies and then digital technologies folder. So we can scroll through here to find a whole bunch of really good resources. You can see we've got heaps of behind the news content in here as well. So there's obviously some really great relevant content in here from behind the news even. For digital citizenship, we've got Instagram for Kids. Basically all their broadcasts will be recorded and added into here as well. So those are fantastic for some really up-to-date sort of real world examples as well. If we keep scrolling down, you can see here's that responsible uses of technology series that I sort of highlighted before. So you can find that one in there as well. And I mentioned that some of those series and some of those videos were aligned to the curriculum. So just very quickly as well, how you can actually check if a video is aligned to the curriculum in ClickView, click Options next to that video, and you can click View Curriculum Links there. And that will actually bring up your curriculum links for that video. If you're in New South Wales, you should be seeing the New South Wales curriculum links. If you're in Queensland or the ACT, I believe you'll have the Australian curriculum links. So just depending on where you are, will depend on what curriculum you actually see in here as well. So just a quick reminder that you can do that within ClickView as well for any of the videos. So that is one way that you can find the digital citizenship resources, is just browsing through the libraries. Obviously, I mentioned there's probably a couple of places that these type of resources will sit. So the technologies folder is one of them. You might also find some really good stuff in the health and PE folder. So if we open that one up there and then jump into the personal development and health folder there, you can see we've got a whole bunch of subcategories in here. So things like safety, that might be a good place to check as well. There's probably some really good resources in here as well for digital citizenship. So sometimes they'll actually sit across multiple folders in the library as well. You can see in here, we've got a BTN video on online safety, Safer Internet Day. You can see that same series, Responsible Use of Technology, is actually sitting in this folder as well. So like I said, sometimes they'll be across multiple areas, which is good. It's a bit of a catch-all. But definitely just browse through the library folders and you'll be able to find content quite easily that way as well. The English folder is probably a good place to check as well, because there might be some digital literacy content in the English folders as well. So that's probably a good place to just double check for things as well. And then obviously, depending on what year group you teach will depend what year group folder you go into as well, of course. So if you go into Foundation Year 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, they should have all the same subject area folders within those. But you can be confident then that if you're in the safety folder for Year 5 to 6, that it's going to be all the content that's relevant for those age students. And then similar, if you're in Foundation to Year 2, and you go into the PDHP folder in there, all those resources are going to be more relevant for Foundation to Year 2, of course. So that's the first way that you can kind of find content, is just browsing through the libraries there. Now you've also got your keyword search up the top here. So this is another way that you can find content in ClickView. This is probably useful if you are kind of wanting to go to something really specific. So you want to teach something maybe on fake news or cyberbullying, something really specific, and you want to kind of just jump straight to that. That's where you might use this keyword search up the top there. So we're going to do that now, and I'm going to go with the example of fake news. So I think that's fairly topical these days. So we'll type in our keyword up the top there. Now you can just obviously scroll through the results that you get on the screen here, but you can also use the filters on the left-hand side here to kind of narrow that search result down a little bit more. So if I click show more filters over on the left here down the bottom, the one I wanted to actually draw your attention to is this features option here. So a lot of the videos in ClickView do come with additional teaching and learning resources like worksheets, comprehension questions. Some of them will have things like teacher packs. So a lot of the videos have those things attached to them. So if you use your keyword search up the top here, you can actually filter the results by videos that only come with those things, those extra resources. So if you're looking for something that does come with extra worksheets and things, use your features filter here and select resources from there. Now, I can be confident now that all the videos showing up in this list here will be videos that are relevant to fake news. There'll also be videos that come with those extra resources. So I can open up that example there. So we'll just click on this one here as an example. And over on the right-hand side here are where I've got my extra resources then. And you can just click on these PDFs to download those and then open them up on your computer. You can then print those off if you need to, or you could share them with students online or digitally, and they can actually type straight into a lot of those PDFs. They are interactive PDFs most of the time. So you can either print them off or send them digitally, totally up to you. Probably depends whether students have devices at your school and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's another way that you can find content in ClickView. Now, what we're going to go, I might just pause there and see if there's any questions that I need to cover off before we keep going, Andrea. Is there any kind of important questions that we need to cover?
Nothing's come through, but feel free to send them through, guys, in the chat or the Q&A.
Perfect. Yes, good reminder. If you do have questions about anything that we're going through, pop those into the chat or the Q&A as we go. Now I wanted to go through a few ways that you can actually use the content in your classroom. So obviously we've gone through some of the good digital citizenship resources, where to find that type of content in ClickView, and the extra resources that come with those videos. Now we want to move into the different ways that you can actually get that content out to students and how you can actually use those videos in class. So the first way, the sort of most obvious, most simple way of using the content is obviously playing the videos on a big screen in front of the class and watching together as a group activity. So that's definitely the more traditional way of using video in the classroom. That's going to work in a lot of situations. You guys are obviously going to know what you need to do and what works best. So you can obviously play the videos up on the big screen. You can use your full screen mode there on the video player to do that as well. You might even check to see if it does have resources. You could download those resources, again, hand them out or provide those to students, watch the video on the big screen in front of the class, and then students could complete those resources or those activities after watching those videos perhaps as well, to kind of put their knowledge into practice a little bit, kind of test their knowledge a little bit as well. So that's one way that you can use the videos in class. Now, the really good thing about ClickView is you can actually share the content directly to students as well. So you don't have to play it on a big screen. If students have their own devices, or if you maybe want to send something home for them to watch as homework, you can share the content directly with students as well. Now, to do that, we will come down underneath the video here. So scroll down underneath the video that you want to share with students, and you can click on your share button here. Now, there's a few ways that you can share content directly with students, and it probably depends on how you're providing content and resources to students generally at your school, whether you're using a learning management system like Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, or if you just use email or something like that. So depending on how you kind of communicate with students online, will determine how you actually share the videos with them. So the most simple way is probably just copying and pasting this link here. So each video will have a link in the share button. So you can copy and paste that link there. You can put that in an email, send that to students, or you could put it into something like Class Dojo or Seesaw, whatever your school might be using. You can paste that link in there. Students will be able to click on that link from their end and go straight to that video. Now, just a reminder, students do need accounts to be able to access the videos that you send them. So when they click on that link, they will be prompted to log into ClickView, but all of your students should have accounts automatically set up just like you guys do. So you should all be accessing ClickView through single sign-on. So you should actually just be able to, or students should actually just be able to put their normal school email address into the username field. And they should be able to log in through your organization's or your institution's single sign-on page. For the majority of you, that would be seeing it. So that's how students can kind of access the videos that you send them. So that's one way that you can share the content with students. You can also jump over to the embed option here under the share tab. And if you're a school that uses Google Classroom, you can click your share with Google Classroom button from here, which is really easy, super straightforward. That'll open up your Google Classroom account and you can pop that video in there however you need to, whether it's an assignment or a task or a question or something like that. You can then put that into Google Classroom really easily. And again, students can access that from there. If you're using another learning management system, so not Google Classroom, if you're using maybe Microsoft Teams or Canvas or another system, we do have integrations with quite a lot of learning management systems. So to find out if your school is using a learning management system that has an integration with ClickView, probably the best thing to do is actually jump up into our ClickView training channel up the top here. So in the top right corner, you've got your ClickView training link. I'm just going to do that now. And if we scroll down on this page here, we've actually got a whole bunch of tutorial videos in here for all the different things you can do in ClickView. But one in particular that I wanted to show you was this sharing videos category here. So if we open that up, we've actually got little tutorial videos on all the different ways that you can share content in ClickView. So all the different learning management systems and platforms that we do integrate with. You can see we've got one here for embedding ClickView content into Microsoft Teams, for example. We've got one for Google Classroom. Google Classroom's pretty straightforward though. We've got one for Canvas, one for Style, one for Verso. So you can see already how many there are. So definitely have a scroll through that page there and just see if you are using one of those learning management systems. And that way you can learn really quickly how you can embed content nice and easily into that system as well. So I just wanted to point that out for you guys. Now I'm just going to jump back to my video that we were just on. And mute that one there again.
Holly, I did have a question that came up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
But it might be better to do it at the end. It's up to you. To search by the curriculum search function to show how to do that on the front screen.
Yeah, absolutely. We might do that now. So before I was just going to jump into how you can actually share whole playlists of videos with students as well, but I'll pause there and we might just go back and answer that question for you. Okay. So you can, it's a really good question. You can, obviously showed you how you can sort of find a video and then check the curriculum links after you've found a video, but you can actually search by the curriculum as well. So if we go back to our ClickView dashboard here, you should all have this search by curriculum option right up front on your dashboard. So if we click on our search button there, and now again, my account is linked to the New South Wales curriculum. Yours might look a little bit different if you're in Queensland or the ACT. But basically it'll look very similar. It'll just have different things here according to obviously what curriculum your account's aligned to. So I can go through here and basically fill out each of these drop-down fields here to find specifically curriculum aligned content. So we can choose a learning area here. So we might go technologies. I can select my stage as well. So I could go maybe stage 3 and we can pick a subject. We can pick an option. So I might go digital technologies and I can go as far as actually selecting an outcome there as well. Now, this will give me, you can see every time I sort of filled this out, each drop down here that I filled out, it kind of narrowed down the content. It changed the content a little bit as I went. So you could just leave it as technologies stage 3 if you wanted to. You don't have to keep putting in these different options. You can go as far as putting in your actual outcome though that you're looking for content on. And that will show all the content in ClickView that is aligned to that particular part of the curriculum. So that's another way that you can find the content. So if you are looking specifically for curriculum mapped content, so that you can sort of tick off part of the curriculum, you can do it that way as well. You can search for content that way. Now, again, once you do that, you can always check the curriculum links from there as well. So you can always click options and view the curriculum links, and that's how you'll actually see the specific curriculum links as well. Another thing that you can do is, regardless of, again, how you find the content, when you click view curriculum links on a video, you can actually click on the little boxes here, the little curriculum code boxes here. You can click on each of those and that will actually take you to see all the other videos in ClickView that have that same curriculum code on it as well. So that's another way that you can find extra curriculum content for that part of the curriculum as well. Hopefully that answers that question for you. Let me know if you want to know anything else about that curriculum search, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of filling out those fields there. But that is a really good way of finding that specifically that curriculum mapped content as well. We might jump in. Were there any other questions while I'm on that, Andrea? Were there any other questions we should answer?
Nothing else. No, nothing else.
Perfect. We'll jump back into the playlist then. Keep those questions coming though, guys, if you do have any more. I'm going to jump back to my fake news video example. And obviously, we've just gone through how you can share an individual video with students, but I wanted to show you as well how you can actually share a whole playlist of videos to students. So underneath the video, you'll have an add to a playlist button here. So playlists are great for building up sort of a bank of resources for a particular subject area or topic or unit, and then sharing that whole playlist out with students, or just keeping those organized, ready to go for yourself to hit play in class as well. So not just for sharing directly to students, but just having them organized and having them sort of planned out and ready to go for yourself to play them again on the big screen when you're ready to. So to create a playlist and add the video to a playlist, we can click on add to a playlist here. Now I could go through and add this video to one of my existing playlists if I'd already set one up. So you can see I've got quite a few playlists already set up in here, and I can just go through and add these to one of those, add this video to one of those playlists if I want to. Or I can go ahead and create a new playlist right then and there as well. So I might just call this one fake news. We'll click create playlist there. And that's added that video into my fake news playlist. So I can close that pop-up now. I'm going to go back to my search result for fake news videos, and I'm actually going to add in a couple more videos to that playlist. So maybe this BTN fake news video, maybe that one looks good, and I might add that one in as well. So I don't actually have to open up the video. If I've already watched this one, perhaps I already know what that's about. I can just click options next to the video and I can click add to playlist from there as well. We'll do that now. And we might do one more. So we might do what is fake news, tips for spotting it. We'll click options again and we'll click add to playlist from there. And we'll pop that one into the fake news playlist as well. Now to access your playlists, obviously you would come up to your playlists tab up the top here. We can jump in there and I can see here's my fake news playlist sitting here. So we'll open that one up. Now, if I want to share this whole playlist with students, I want to use my share button at the top of the playlist here. So I can click on that. And again, you've got pretty much the same sharing options for the playlists that you do for the individual videos. So if I send students this link here, this will be a link to the whole playlist and they can see those 3 videos that I've got there and they could work through those and watch each of those. Or we can jump over to embed. And if you are using Google Classroom, you can actually embed the playlist into Google Classroom really easily as well. Again, check out that training channel list of videos for sharing videos for your specific learning management system that you might be using, just to see how you can go about sharing the playlists into that learning management system really easily as well, because that'll give you some good insight and good tips as well. So that's how you can share a whole playlist out with students. Obviously, the playlists are fantastic, like I was saying, for just sort of organizing content within ClickView for yourself. And that way, even if you're not planning on sending it to students, you can have these sitting here ready to go, nicely organized and planned out. You can even reorder them if you want to as well, in maybe the order that you plan to use those throughout the term or throughout that lesson as well. So you can always reorder those. Go ahead.
Carly, are you able to put a video in more than one playlist?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So you can put the video into a whole bunch of different playlists that you've got set up. No limit there. There's no limit to how many videos you can add to a playlist. If there is, then I don't know what that limit is. There's also no limit, I don't believe, to how many playlists you can create. So you can set up as many playlists as you like, add as many videos to them, and you can absolutely have the same video in multiple playlists as well.
And you can share a playlist with another teacher that could then add items as well? Yeah.
So you can share a playlist with another teacher. You can't add videos or remove videos from someone else's playlist though. So you can absolutely share it with them, and you can actually follow other people's playlists. So just as an example, if I jump over here, you can see this COP26 playlist here has this purple dot next to it. So that's actually indicating that this playlist is someone else's that I'm following. And you might be a little bit hard to see there, but I've actually got, it actually says created by Mark H in the header of the playlist there. So Mark is one of my colleagues here at ClickView. He put this playlist together, sent me the share link, and then I have a follow button in the top corner of the playlist here. So I was able to click follow on that one. And that just saves Mark's playlist into my own ClickView account as well. So I can take advantage of the videos that Mark's got in here. I can't add videos to Mark's playlist and I can't remove videos from it. So you can just see what he's got in there. But if Mark was to add a new video to this playlist after I'm already following it, I would still see that video. So I would see any changes that Mark makes in there as well. Yeah, so that's something else that playlists are really useful for, is kind of collaborating with each other a little bit more, sharing resources to each other. So, you know, you don't all have to create the same playlists, particularly for, you know, teachers across a stage, perhaps. Maybe one of you, only one of you needs to put together the playlist for stage 3 digital citizenship resources. Share it with each other, share it with the other teachers in your year group or your stage, and they can just click follow, and then they can easily take advantage of those resources as well. So it's a really nice way to kind of share resources between each other.
Can you share them across schools, Carly?
That is a good question. I'm actually not sure. You could definitely give it a go. You can, Andrew?
Yes, you can. There's a public sharing link.
There is too. I'll just show you that quickly. That's a good shout. So yes, you can. So to share a playlist with a teacher at another school, click on your share button up the top there, and you just want to change this option here. So you want to change who can see this shared playlist. You want to change that to everyone public. And that way, when you send this link now to a teacher at another school, they will be able to access, they'll be able to see that playlist, and they'll be able to access the videos that you've got in there as well. Only if they also have a ClickView account though, of course. So if you share it to a teacher that isn't at a school that has ClickView, then they probably won't be able to see it, because it will probably still require people to have a login to view it. But yes, if they have ClickView at their school as well, you should be able to share across schools. So that's really handy. Just remember to change those share settings up the top there to everyone public.
Thank you.
Cool. So that's playlists. That's another way to kind of use the content, either to share to colleagues, students, or just kind of organize the content for yourself. The other way that I wanted to show you that you can use the videos is turning them into interactives. And we probably won't go into too much detail for this, but I did just want to sort of point it out to you, show you how you can create an interactive, and I'll show you what those interactives are for those of you that might not be aware. But we'll do another search up the top here and we'll jump into that. So this time I might do something different. We might look for some cyber safety resources. So we'll do our keyword search up the top there. We'll grab a video from here. So we might jump into this top one here. And if we scroll down underneath the video here, we can click on interactive videos here. We can actually create an interactive version of this video. So just to give you a little bit of an idea about what the interactives are, the interactives are basically where you can turn any video in ClickView into an interactive version where you can add a layer of questions over the top of that video. So you can put whatever questions you want in, you can come up with the questions. And the idea is that you would then share that video or that interactive video with students. They can watch that on their own device and they can actually answer the questions that you've put in while they're watching the video. So it's a really nice way to engage students a little bit more. And get them testing their knowledge again. You will get the results back to you as the teacher as well. So before I go in and create an interactive for this one here, I actually just want to show you what they look like, just so you know what I'm talking about. So I think we'll go to one that already has an interactive attached. So I'll just go back to my fake news example because I know that one already has an interactive. So if we scroll down underneath the video here to our interactive videos tab, you can see this one has a 1 in it. So that indicates that this video actually already has an interactive attached to it that I can just use for myself. So anytime you see an interactive underneath the original video, you can just use that interactive that's already there for yourself as well, which is really good. So to do that, you would click Save to Workspace. Before I go any further, I'm just going to preview this one for you guys. So you should be able to see that video playing there. So you can see it's playing through like a normal video, but we've got these colored markers along the timeline here. So these markers indicate questions that have been added into those points of the video. So if we skip ahead a little bit to that first one, what will happen is it will automatically pause when it gets to that marker and the question will pop up over the top of the video. And obviously the idea is if you share this to students, then they will watch the video, it will automatically pause, they can go through and answer that question, and then you'll get those results back to you. They can click save and continue, and that video will start playing again. So that's obviously just going to happen for each of those markers, each of those questions. When it gets to the end of the video, they'll have an opportunity to review their answers, and then they can submit those. So it's a really, again, really nice way to engage students a little bit more, get them actually sort of doing something a little bit more active rather than just sort of sitting back and watching a video. And then you get the results, so you can actually assess where they're at, what they understand, and all that kind of stuff as well. So really, they're really, really, really great feature. Now, like I said, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to ask,
right.
Can you remove an interactive if you don't want it in the video? And if someone has added an interactive in, can you still get back to the original one and put your own in?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So the original video will always be sitting up the top here. So this is the original video that has no questions included. So if you don't want any questions included, just use the video up the top there, the original. If you want to use the interactive, you can create your own from scratch, and that'll be blank, and you can add whatever questions you want only. You can do that by clicking create an interactive video here. If you want to use one of the existing ones, but you want to kind of take away some of the questions, you can do that as well. So if you want to do that, you need to save the existing interactive there, save that to your workspace, and then you can actually edit that from your workspace, and you can delete some questions out of it. So when you save an existing interactive to your workspace, it actually creates a copy of that for yourself. So if you edit that one, then it won't affect this original one here. And I'll just let you know as well, all the ones that you see already created will be ones that have been created by us at ClickView. So you won't see interactives created by other schools or other teachers at other schools. You'll only see, I think you can imagine that would be quite a lot of interactives then sitting under the videos. So any interactives you see here will be people at ClickView that have created them. So Vicky L's someone that actually works at ClickView. So those are the two options that you have. You can use the existing ones, and then you can even edit those ones if you want to, or you can create a brand new one from scratch. So I might just jump into this existing one and save a copy of that one to my workspace for now. So I've clicked save to workspace, and then I can view that one in my workspace. That then jumps us back to our workspace, to our interactive videos folder. So this is where all your interactives will live. This is where all the ones that you create or save will go to, and they'll be sitting in here. If I'm happy with that interactive as it is, I don't want to change anything, this is where I would share that interactive out to my students from as well. So I come to my workspace, I find the interactive, and then I can click share, and that's how I would share that one to my students. Now, you could absolutely still play this video on a big screen in front of the class, the interactive version, and that way the questions will pop up on the big screen as well. And you might do that as a group activity. So you might sort of get students to raise their hand to answer the questions, and then you could just answer them sort of on your device on the big screen for them as well. So you can still use the interactives as a group activity, which is, again, a really fun way to get students engaging in the video content rather than just sitting back and watching it. Or you can obviously share it directly with them to get their individual results, which once they complete the interactive that you've shared with them, you can jump into the view results button here, and that's where you'll be able to access all their results from. Now, if you do want to edit this interactive a little bit, you can always do that as well. So you can click options next to that interactive there, and you can jump in here and edit that one. So that'll take you to this window here. You can click play in the middle of the screen there. And I've got my video player here, and I've got my 6 question types over on the side here. This is how you can edit it, and this is how you can also create your own interactives. Because we're editing an existing one at the moment, I've got all my existing questions sitting underneath the video here. So I can just go through and remove some of those if I want. So maybe this missing word question here, maybe I don't need that one. It's not suitable for my students. So I can click delete on that one and remove that existing question really easily. Now I can also add new questions in. So to add a new question in, it's very straightforward, very intuitive. You would probably just watch the video through there, and then whenever you want to ask a question, you would click pause on the video, and then you can select your question type that you want to add into that part of the video. And you've got these 6 to choose from. The annotation and the image are not really questions as such. They're more where you can give a little bit of extra information or context. The image is obviously where you can upload an image, and then the annotation is just where you can put a little bit of text in. I will just let you know as well, if you are planning to send the interactives directly to students to get them to complete, The multiple choice true or false and missing word will be marked automatically because you actually have to set the answer for those when you put the questions in. But the short answer ones, you do have to mark those ones yourself. So just keep that in mind when you're creating the interactives. But super easy to mark the short answer ones. You would just go back to that view results button in the workspace next to that interactive. When you open up that view results page, it actually tells you front and center if you've got short answer questions that need marking, and it's really easy to go through and mark those ones. So that's how you can set up the interactives or edit an existing interactive as well. It's actually the same process for either option there. Just because of time, we probably won't go into actually sort of adding questions in or anything like that. Definitely have a play around with that though, if you do have some time, and set up some interactives. Once you have created your interactive or edited an interactive, you can then click save and continue up the top there. You can give that a meaningful name and description. You can select this enable immediate feedback option as well if you want to. So that just means if you tick this box here, that just means that students will know whether they're getting the questions right or wrong as they're working through it. So totally up to you whether you tick that box or not. Obviously, that's going to depend on the purpose behind the interactive and the intention behind it as well, whether it's just a quick quiz or more of a formative assessment. Once you're happy with that, and you can review your questions there again underneath, click save and continue again up the top there. Now, this section here is quite important. So you've got two options for how you publish it. You can keep that one private to you, and that will only appear in your workspace, and you're the only teacher then that will be able to share that with students. You won't be able to give that interactive to another teacher for them to share with their students. If you want other teachers at your school to be able to use your interactive, you have to click yes, make available at this point. That means that that interactive that you've created will actually sit under the original video, just like where we saved a copy of this from. And that will allow other teachers only within your school to save a copy of your interactive for themselves, and then they can share it with their students from their workspace. So that's the difference between those two options. So just keep that in mind. If you want to share interactives between teachers, make sure you click yes, make available at that point so that other teachers can save their own copy of your interactive. I haven't made any meaningful changes to this one, so I'm going to keep this one private to me for now. And I'm going to view that one in my workspace again. So again, it jumps us back to our workspace. This will be my edited version of that fake news interactive now. And when I'm ready, I can share that out with my students from there. And once they complete it, again, I can go ahead and view my results from there as well. Now, a couple of other things that you can do with the interactives. So we can click options next to that interactive there. And first of all, I can easily make copies of that same interactive from here. So I can click copy interactive, and you can see I've got another copy of that same interactive now. Now I could go in here and edit this one again to change the question slightly. And perhaps then I can send each interactive to my different groups of students. If you've got students grouped based on maybe ability level, or maybe if you've got 2-year groups in your classroom, if you've got a 5-6 class, you could really send targeted questions to each group of students that way. You can probably put the group name or the year group name in the title of the interactive when you edit it as well, so that you know that this one here goes to your blue group and this one here goes to your yellow group, for example. So the interactives are really easy to kind of differentiate between students, give them targeted questions, so they're really learning at their own level, and they're getting the questions that they need to as well. So that's something that you can do really easily with the interactives. Now, something else that you can do with the interactives is click options again. We can click print as worksheet. So that actually gives you this really nicely automatically formatted worksheet of all the questions in that interactive. So again, if your students don't have devices at your school, or they don't have, there's not enough devices for each student, or maybe for the younger year groups, maybe if you're an early stage 1 or stage 1 teacher, and it's a bit difficult to get students all logging into a device and logging into ClickView to complete the interactives, you might still play the video then on a big screen, but you could set up your interactive with all your questions in there and just hit that print as worksheet option. And it gives you this nicely automatically formatted worksheet that you could just print out copies for, hand those out to students. They can complete the worksheet then with pencil and paper, maybe after watching the video as a group activity. So that's something else that you can do with the interactives as well. Cool. So that's a few different ways that you can kind of use the content in ClickView. We could go on and on about the different ways that you could probably use the interactives. I think they're fantastic as well for, like I said earlier, just putting on in front of the class, and maybe doing it, answering the questions as a group activity. It's a really nice way to kind of do that planning ahead of time, so that you can play the video and you know that it's going to pause at those different questions, rather than you having to remember where you wanted to pause it. You know that that's just going to happen automatically with the interactives, and it's not going to start playing again until you hit play. So I think they're really good for doing that way, as well as just sending them directly to students. That's pretty much everything that I had to go through in terms of how to kind of use the content. The last thing that I did just want to run through with you guys was just some extra support that you do have available for more learning about ClickView, more training, all that kind of stuff. So a few things on the screen there in front of you. Obviously, you guys all have a dedicated ClickView advisor, which I believe for all of you guys is actually me. So please do reach out to me if you want to organize any training for just your school, or maybe even a team within your school. I'm always available to run training for you guys. So definitely reach out if that's something that you're interested in doing. We do have the ClickView training channel, which I showed you before, where you can find those extra videos on how to share content, plus a whole bunch of other things. We've also got our brand new welcome page, specifically for schools that are part of a Catholic diocese. We update that every term with sort of trending content, popular content, and new releases for that term as well. So that's a really good page to bookmark maybe in your browser. We also advertise all of our webinars on that page as well. So feel free to jump on there to see other webinars that might be coming up, and you can register for those from there as well. We also have our national webinar schedule, so you can jump to that page there as well. I'll make sure that you guys will get a copy of these slides as well with the webinar recording afterwards, so you can just click on these links when you get the slides. You don't have to worry about remembering all these different links and places right now. Then we also have our ClickView blog. So we do post blogs about all different things, including important content that's available in ClickView, or videos that we're producing. We'll also post blogs on new features in ClickView if we add anything, if we create anything new within ClickView. We also post blogs just on general teaching and learning practices and strategies and ideas, all that kind of stuff as well. So that's a really good one to have a look at to get some inspiration and ideas from. If you click on your name in the top right corner of your ClickView account, you'll also have the ClickView Help Center. So that's got a bunch of support articles as well in there that are quite helpful. And then lastly, we've got our ClickView teaching community on Facebook. So that's just a group of teachers using ClickView across Australia, basically. They've all joined that group, and it's run by the advisors at ClickView. So we kind of just post tips in there, content updates. We'll also sort of advertise if there's a really important webinar coming up, all that kind of stuff. And it's a really great place for people using ClickView to ask questions as well, and even see the answers to questions that other teachers might be asking that maybe you didn't even know that you had. So it's a really nice way to share ideas, share information. It's not so much a marketing sort of group, it's more for people already using ClickView that just want to share ideas, that kind of stuff. So feel free to join that group if you're interested in that as well. Otherwise, that's it from me. We can stick around for as long as we need to, just to answer any questions that anyone has. So absolutely keep those questions coming if you do have any last ones. Andrea, is there anything at the moment that we need to answer?
That's it.
Cool.
Well done. No more questions.
Hopefully that means we've covered everything well. Cool. I'm happy to stick around for another couple of minutes just to see if you guys do have any questions that you might be still sort of thinking of. Otherwise, Karen, did you want to say anything to sort of wrap up at all?
Thank you very much. I'd appreciate those that are in attendance today if you could fill in the evaluation form for us.